All right, so next up is our seated posture. So we're looking at where we're sitting here. So the big mistake that most people will make when they're seated is when they go forward to their desk, they hinge through the spine instead of from the hips. Now the funny thing is the hips are actually a more comfortable position to hinge from, and it's also biomechanically better. So we've got kind of this dual advantage of hinging from the hips, and it creates this good stable base and reduces back pain. So when you're working on your computer, you lean forward to type or whatever, hinge from the hips, find that same ribs down position we talked about in standing, chest up, and you're here. The cool thing about this is even if you're at a really low table, you'll notice when I go here, I still end up in perfect posture through my neck and shoulders. If I'm even on my phone, so let's say I'm sitting here on my phone, if I hinge from the hips, now you may not have mobility to go all the way from the hips, you might get a bit from the back, but I'm still in very good position and I'm on my phone here, and this is a little sneak peek of your seated phone position that I recommend. So we've got that hinge from the hips as a big thing. Ideally a little bit of a wider stance with the legs, but it's not overly important. If you're more comfortable narrow, you can go with that. But I do like sitting a bit wider. Obviously depends where you're sitting. And then that ribs down and you're typing there. The other thing we're looking for is head position. Are we in neutral alignment through the neck? So remembering that the spine should have that S curve, and if you're in healthcare, you know that. So making sure that you're not overly extended or overly flexed forward. Most people when they're at a desk will end up sitting like this, and they've got the head down and they're in that awful position, or they're rounded through here. And we want to get out of that, get into that hinge from the hips, core's on, and we're in that good solid base position. Almost as if you were able to take off running as soon as you, or at any point through that seated position. So hinge from the hips, ribs down, chest up, and keep that neck neutral. Those are your big cues for seated position.